And we are back again. Focus on motion design and that duplicate node. We're going to show you a couple little tricks of the trade here, how to utilize that duplicate node to be able to grab some pretty cool things. The inspiration here is the US flag. Let's jump on into Resolve and dive deep into this. Yeah, so we're going to recreate this little look here, utilizing that duplicate node. Should be pretty cool. Let's jump on into this. Let's grab a fusion composite from effects over here. Let's jump on into that. I'm going to show you a little trick here of what I like to do. So what I like to do is kind of grab color palettes from like Getty Images, graphics that I find on Getty, and just kind of the web in general. So I'll grab like a screen grab. This particular screen grab is actually of the spot that I created. So I was just kind of cheating to grab the color palette. So let's go ahead and grab the background, put that on down. We're going to put this to solid color. We're going to pull this blue from there. Let's save that. We need a loader node. And this is something that you're going to need to find on your own. I grabbed an element from Video Copilot's Riot Gear. They have grunge textures, are kind of cool. I'm going to grab this grunge number 2. And, you know, I don't understand why this is. Like, I bring in one element, but it actually is bringing in all of them. If you know what that is, please help me, because I don't understand it. So if I slam this to 1, drag it over to the second element, maybe. There we go. That's the one that I want. And then if I just put this on loop, I think we'll kind of make that so it's not going anywhere. Okay, that's the texture that I like. I'm going to merge that on in. I need to get a resize node. Just kind of cheat here. I could have used the transform node, but I'm just going to use a resize node this time around. So let's go ahead and click on the merge and go to multiply. Overlay. Let's go to overlay. I kind of like overlay better. There we go. And we're going to need a transform node later on for that. All right, let's put this back up into there. We are going to grab a copy of that background. And we're just going to pull our color palette. So let's pull this red. You know, let's paste another one. Let's pull this white. I'm pretty sure it's just white, so that's fine. Okay. Now, the first element we're going to do is make the flag. So let's go ahead and grab a rectangle. We're going to make it as wide as possible and make it about the width that we want our strips to be. So we'll just do like 0.07, not 0.7. There we go. So there's that. We're going to cheat, stick down to there. We have a white one now too. Okay, let's get into that duplicate node. So shift space bar, duplicate, and let's press 1 on that duplicate node. We're going to need, how about 4 different versions of that strip. We don't want to go X, we want to go Y. Spread those apart to, how about 0.37. And we'll copy that, paste it onto the white ones. There's the white ones, but we need to shift those down. So we're going to do a transform node, and we'll actually shift them up. Let's merge that with that so we can see those. And we're just going to shift those white ones on up. So it's all copacetic. I'm going to zoom in here, make sure there's no gaps, which there still are. There we go. Command F to be able to zoom back out. We'll merge this on in here. Whoop, hey, not that. Merge that right there. Let's give us some room up here. Here we go. We need some stars. Let's go ahead and do a Command Shift and do another loader. And then I'm going to find my stars. There's stars. Let's go ahead and pop that into a transform node to resize it. There we go. So we got something like that. Maybe not that small. Probably about something like that. Then that into another duplicate node. Let's eyeball that. We're going to shift those, not that way, but this way. There we go. So we have 2. Let's go ahead and make this like 11. We want 11 copies of that. We're going to merge that on into our US flag here. I'm going to shift this on over and up. Let's go to this. This is just the lines. I'm going to put another transform node in there. So that's all the lines. Let's go ahead and take off the aspect, and we're just going to swing that a little wider. You'll see why in a little bit. Okay, now another transform node to be able to place it. So let's go ahead and put a little shift on it. So I don't like how the white is on the top and the red is on the bottom. Let's flip those. So we'll just disconnect those two and then flip them around to these other sides. There we go. Whoop, that's not what I want. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and place this down here. And we're just going to place it so that that star is right there. Let's go ahead and increase the gap there. Yeah, there we go. We don't need that many of them. Very nice, very nice. Okay, so we have that placed. This is just everything. Let's go ahead and give us some more room here. We need to now put a top one up there. So let's grab another transform node. I'm going to grab a copy of that and merge it into itself. Here's that. Let's flip it around. And place it up here. You can support me today by listening to my music via the links below. Contact me via the Facebook link below to become a sponsor and to get our sponsorship pricing tiers. Now let's do a fancy little trick. We're going to go to frame 1. We're going to click on the duplicate node, go to the angle and animate that. So let's go down, how about down to frame 155, drop another keyframe, go back to the first one. Then we're just going to bring these on back here a little bit. There we go. So now we have a nice little animation of those dropping into place. I wish that this duplicate node had like spin, XYZ spin on it. That would be kind of cool that we can actually have these stars kind of, showing some angles and stuff, but it doesn't have that. So let's get it so it stands off that background. So shift spacebar and drop shadow. We're going to put the drop shadow right after the duplicate node. Find that drop angle. Where is that? Turn this up. There's the shadow. So we're just going to get it so it's kind of going towards the middle there. Something like that. Drop distance. Something like that. Yeah, the blur, that'll be fine. So that when these come on in, you can see them standing off of that flag. You can see them standing off of that. We're going to go ahead and copy this. And let's go ahead and paste an instance of it in between these guys. So there we go. So now we have drop shadow coming off the flag and off of those stars. Give us some depth. Oh, we got this guy getting kind of cut off there. What's going on there? Oh, that's why it's getting cut off. That's interesting. Oh, it's this drop shadow, I bet. Yep, that drop shadow is cutting it off. So we're going to put a little drop shadow after those transforms. There we go. Then we have a little bit more control over it. We can adjust this one. We can adjust this one. Let's adjust this drop angle. So that one's kind of coming in a little bit better. There we go. We have a little bit more control over that. So that node order made it so the flag was cutting off. We don't want that. So we're just gonna put that drop shadow after those transform nodes. Okay, now back to the animation of this bad boy. Okay, next thing we're gonna do, slide these on over. This is our background, correct? Let's go ahead and put some animation on that background. So that's what this transform node is doing. Let's go ahead and zoom in on the background and give it some tilt, give it some angle. We're going to Animate the size and the angle, go to the very end. We're going to just decrease the size some. Something like that. Decrease this angle some. There we go. And that animation, it's a linear animation right now. We're going to frame this on up here. Yeah, so that's just linear keyframes. We're going to keep those linear. An animation like that, staying linear, just kind of looks a little cleaner. Okay, let's grab a text. Comp that on in. Oh, how about the dream is alive? Exclamation point. And we'll just stay with that font. Oh, how about that? Oh, the light one. That was kind of cool. Why not? Increase the size, get them a little closer together. So then we put a little transform node onto here. Let's do some fancy animations here. Let's go ahead and put another transform node at the end here. We are going to put a keyframe. Let's go down 10 frames, put another keyframe back to the first one. Let's increase the size of this. Something where the flags are just about in. Okay, that works. Go ahead and settings, motion blur, crank that on up, crank up your shutter angle. There we go. We're going to have a nice little slam on. Okay. This, keeping the dream alive, we're going to have that starting off screen, go down 30 frames, drop another one. Let's go ahead and slide this on down. No, not that way. In the Y. There we go. We're going to turn on motion blur for this guy too. Okay, so this is our beginning. So the key comes moving in. Our duplicated stars are slowly coming in. And there we go. Let's go ahead and put a little camera shake onto there. Just grab this basic one. And we're going to bring the pan amplitude way down, the tilt amplitude way down, the rotation amplitude way down, and the PTR speed down. That should give us a nice, subtle camera wiggle. Now let's jump on out to our timeline. Another thing we're going to do is add a little effect that I like to put on a lot of things. It's my little chromatic aberration effect. Look up at the top right corner here, guys. I've got a link up here for you to go to and learn how to create this effect. And this is how you can create it and then actually utilize it. I'm going to bring up a finder. So all you got to do is just drag and drop it into your node tree. You got to delete that media in. Go to media out, connect it on up. And there it is. Okay. So now we've got that little thing. If I disable it, you can kind of see the difference there. Now let's go ahead. I'm going to go on up to my render caches and choose none. It's kind of bogging down right now. Okay, so let's jump on into color. And I just got a quick little preset that I got plugged in here. All it's got is just everything zeroed out, but everything's labeled. The only thing that's going on is this vignette. And jump here on the timeline. Come on now. Oh, come on now. There we go. Oh, maybe not. We're just going to drop those whites down. We're going to bring in the mids a little bit. Bring down the low end. Bring down the darks a little bit. Go on in the saturation. You know, I usually like to crank my saturation to give it some liveliness. In this case, I'm not going to. I'm going to actually drop it down. I just want to desaturate it just a skosh. And then the color boost, let's kind of bop it up a little bit. The mid detail, going to increase that a little bit. I'm going to go on into my sharpening, just increase the sharpening just a skosh, just a skosh. Okay, so now let's do add another serial node. Let's pull up glow. I'm going to drop that onto there. That's way too much. threshold, I'm going to bring up here. Actually, let's bring the threshold way down here. Bring the spread so it's just a little bit. There we go. It's kind of hitting that flag a little bit. It's hitting our CG a bit. The gain, let's bring that down a little bit. Let's go ahead and A/B that. So Control D to kind of disable it and pop it on. There we go. It's kind of blowing things out down here. It's a little bit too much. Let's just kind of maybe drop that back a little bit. Drop the gain down. We can adjust our opacity here, kind of help that in. Yeah, it's still spiking. I'm not a big fan of that. Let's see here. It's kind of give me a nice glowy feel though to it. Let's change the color of it. Just want to give it a little bit of some character. Do that. Yeah, it's not really hitting my dream is alive very good. So let's go ahead and drop this down some. Drop that threshold in a little bit. Let's go ahead and bypass that. Yeah, I kind of like that. That's kind of working well for me. So that's what I would do. You can really see the difference here with that chromatic aberration. It's really giving it a nice vignette. Once elements start dropping in, you can kind of see in here that chromatic aberration, splitting the RGB on out a bit. I do enjoy that. I like how it splits out the RGB a little bit on the edges. Go ahead and check out that tutorial for the chromatic aberration if you are interested, and we will see Brian right now. And there we go, the duplicate node. Just a quick little note, I'm planning on doing some more tutorials on lots of motion design stuff. And I really want to do another series that's focused on a spot recreation. I'm teaming up with a buddy out of Warner Brothers, and him and I are probably going to take a look at some spots and do a little, maybe a cohort tutorial, a sit-down interview. Stay tuned for that. Every Wednesday, I'm going to release a new tutorial. Stay tuned for those two. Thanks for watching.